Good afternoon, everybody. Choppadong here, coming back at you with the second half of the MLB season with a little bit of a lineup building video brought to you by DFSArmy.com, your one-stop shop for all things DFS. Yes, we took a little bit of a break there, and we'll come back with some of the other sports and whatnot this weekend too, but MLB is back, the All-Star break is over, and as we start heating up the NFL stuff, we're going to keep digging into MLB as we continue to play. I wanted to show you a quick addition that we might be doing on a more regular basis for our VIPs. But today I'm going to open it up video style and we'll just post it out there because I can expand on a couple of thoughts as I go. And I'm going to use different tools probably in the next week or so with what it is that I am trying to show you guys on these videos, notably the coach's notes. And I'll probably do those more or less after lock because I'm not going to be giving away all of our VIP information for free. That's for you to click the link down there in the comments section and join the DFS Army and use that coupon code CHOP while you're down there to trigger that 20% off discount. However, I will show you today's version for free only because I want to show you that we've added some smaller slates to the mix. We know that we dive into the research station. We know that we focus on whatever slate we're on, whether it's the main, the express, the late night, after hours, whatever. And we know the process that we generally go through with rated players, with L7, WOBA, with things like that. If you followed my videos, you know my process. And we might do another video or two here in the near-term future showing you that process just to retouch those bases. But I'd like to show you some of the other tools and expand upon the knowledge and show you a little bit more of what DFS Army offers, because there really is no better place to get the actual coaching, the actual discussion with experts that is going to make you a better player going forward and is going to preserve your bankroll or possibly grind up a profit and hold on for that big score and that GPP that you've been dreaming about and waiting for so many years. That's what we try to do, is hold on to you indefinitely, teach you how to become at very least a break-even player, then slightly profitable, and then it's just a matter of time before you hit your big GPP if you keep taking shots at them. If I could live to be 1,000 years old, I'd probably hit the Powerball. But obviously, I'm not going to live to be 1,000 years old, so it's not going to work for everybody, but for a lot of people, the biggest confidence boost you can get is to become a break-even player and a slightly winning player, and that's what we're going to do. Coach's notes page is where we're going to start today. I just wanted to show you that for the Express slate today being a big main slate, all the teams coming back off a break for the most part, a lot of information to process. I would recommend to newer players, less experienced players, guys maybe struggling with their confidence, get into these smaller slates. The Express slate's only 4 games tonight. It's very simple to process the information with Garrett Cole up top. In the pitching performance category, we've got Robbie Ray, Adam Wainwright, Chase Anderson, and even maybe a Danny Duffy. These types of players, they're all kind of in play. They're not exactly targets, but to be honest with you, Garrett Cole is the overwhelming safe play. If you're going to be playing cash games, maybe hybridized lineups, you're going to want to consider Garrett Cole. And honestly, he's got GPP winning upside as well. So if the smaller value bats do the damage tonight, that's going to be your winning lineup. It's pretty easy to see. There aren't many other options out there to consider. Maybe a Robbie Ray if you want a little bit of savings, but he's not exactly safe enough for cash most times. Adam Wainwright, Chase Anderson, Danny Duffy, certainly not safe enough for cash most times. I was considering Chase Anderson a little bit because he's so dirt cheap, but the more I looked at him and the more I looked at his game logs, he doesn't pitch 6 innings very often. He's not a high strikeout pitcher necessarily, especially when he's not in the game very often. He doesn't get the win bonus or the quality start too terribly often, and those things are all going to help you in cash games boost your floor when you're a minus 200 favorite out of Las Vegas. However, with only 15 to 20 points, I need more like 24 or so with that $6,500 price tag. So his 15 to 20 point usual outing is actually a little bit low, which means he's actually appropriately or a little bit overpriced even at $6,500. Now if he was say $5,500 or $6,000, I might consider it a little bit. Plus, unless I really wanted to pound Houston and Milwaukee stacks tonight, I don't really need him. I can just pay up Garrett Cole, hopefully find the value elsewhere. And when we were looking around, we found a lot of value. Found a lot of it in Milwaukee, honestly, because the pitchers that we want to target are facing Houston and Milwaukee, and that's not a really good option for them either. There are other players. Wainwright can blow up. Robbie Ray can walk a ton of people and blow up. Danny Duffy can blow up. There's a lot of stuff that you can really pick at if you want to and take some shots, GPP shots. And on those smaller slates, honestly, less has to go right for you to win. Now, the GPPs aren't as big, so I typically like to play my hybrid lineups over here on these smaller slates, and this is where I build most of my bankroll. So I can show you 5-star plays. I can show you the type of lineup you're building with it, an all format, a hybrid, or a cash type lineup, whatever. The pricing is, of course, there for Fanduel and DraftKings with the team and the opponent listed. But then there are the notes, and this is where you're really going to separate yourself from most of the other research that you do. You get that second opinion. You get that validated opinion. What I did when I was learning this game, and I'm no pro, I'm not the cat's meow, but when I was learning this game, I would often find a coach or two that I kind of latched onto, that I kind of trusted, that kind of seemed to think like me. We agreed on certain plays quite a bit. And I'd kind of latch onto that guy. And inside our coaching forums, I could talk with that guy. I could learn from that guy. I could ask him questions and get feedback, and we could discuss things back and forth and kind of become friends, honestly, if he respected my game, because I certainly respected his. And then as time went on, I found myself being able to more or less predict the players that they liked, because it gave me so much confidence in my own research process and the players that I was digging up on my own. From there, I was able to kind of build my own research first and then go to these guys as kind of a second opinion, or kind of a backup opinion. And that's when my game really started to take off, because when I was a little bit different than these guys, I didn't think there was something wrong in my process, because most of the time it agreed. Instead, I laughed at them and said, "You suckers missed something tonight." And sometimes it worked for me. And when it did, they were off of the place that I was on. And it gave me even more confidence that some nights they're going to be right, some nights I'm going to be right. But most of the time, we're generally going to agree. And that let me know that most of the time I was on the right track. I didn't have a lot I didn't need those guys as a crutch. I could use them more as somebody who was a little further down the train tracks than I was, that could kind of teach me and keep pulling me down the process of growth or becoming a better and better player. So, I mean, hats off to all of those guys 3 and 4 and 5 years ago. And I still have a few guys that I listen to this day. But I think that a lot of you guys are sitting in that situation where you would use a sheet like this, not as your sole research, but as you're learning the game, if you're interested in learning baseball, as maybe something as a little bit of confirmation that you're on the right track. So rolling down here a little bit, when I was building my lineups and playing around with them, I found a couple of key guys that were very, very important to me value-wise. I really wanted to pay up for Yasmani Grandal. I can't get to Christian Yelich. Altuve would be fine. Eduardo Escobar was another one that I really, really liked. Moustakas would be fine. But I found Evan Longoria was a little bit cheaper and allowed me to free up more salary to maybe get up in these other areas where I might have not been as confident. I mean, there are other players like, Paul Goldschmidt's in a great spot tonight, but he's going against Robbie Ray, who can be a very competent pitcher. Kittle Marte is another one that's going against Adam Wainwright. Wainwright can blow up. Marte and Escobar can have, huge nights if Wainwright doesn't have his A game on the mound. So there's a whole lot of things that could still go right or wrong with the slate, even at only 4 games. But generally speaking, the most sensible decisions are going to be attacking the weakest pitchers, which is going to be with Milwaukee and Houston. Houston's pricier than Milwaukee. Milwaukee has some value in that lineup, especially if an Aguilar or somebody starts. These guys can pop into these lineups, a Hura, whatever, and really free up that salary for you to go after some of these other big bats. And then maybe differentiate in maybe one spot or two. You don't really need to do a lot on these slates. You want in cash games especially, you want to sort of stay within that herd, because you're going to be different in a spot or two, and that's all it needs to make it, to make the difference. That's all it needs to be a little bit different in one spot, and you be right, or a little bit more correct than somebody else. And that's really the secret to these small slates. And they teach you to be fundamentally sound in that you can stay within that herd, and then maybe take some chances and learn to grow your game into getting a little bit more contrarian, because again, you don't need anybody to really be all that wrong. And you can read all of this stuff if you go to our site. But the bottom line here is the chalk fails a lot in MLB, and you only maybe have that one key pitcher on FanDuel that is the chalk. And when he is, you can stack against him, because if he fails, everybody fails, because the chalk gets really, really tightly condensed into a couple of those key players. Yes, Christian Yelich will be popular, but he won't be very popular in a Garrett Cole lineup, because Garrett Cole is so expensive as well. And so you basically, if you're going away from a Garrett Cole, you might really, really want to target a Christian Yelich. But if you're going with a Garrett Cole, you're going to want to target some cheaper bats and then maybe get up into the, not exactly really, really pricey guys like a George Springer or a Yelich type. You might be down there in the Moustakas range, the Grandal range, something like that, which is where a lot of these cash players are probably going to end up on this slate tonight. So hopefully this helps show you how these smaller slates can benefit you. Of course, we've got a cash sheet coming from the main slate through Cash Keg, one of our better players, one of our higher volume players inside DFS Army. Of course, MDell's going to be doing Fanduel, and Boomer's Daddy's going to be doing DraftKings today for our sheets. So we've got 3 or 4 opinions. We've got a ton of showdowns coming out today that are going to be picked apart by Grown Fool and some of the other staff members. So there's really a lot to go with in the MLB area. I oftentimes will post these pictures here of my pitching notes, but since I put them in the other coaching notes page today, I don't need to show you those separately, but I will oftentimes throw those in my own coaching channel where my guys and I get to talking back and forth about the slate as well. And we do this for every single sport, from PGA to NFL to NBA when it's in season, NASCAR, MMA, all of this. We have research stations like you're looking at right now. We have coaching picks for each sport. We have experts there to talk to you live fire, back and forth, answer your questions right there on the spot. There's no better community dedicated to helping you become a better player. I say that from the bottom of my heart. I wouldn't still be here if I didn't believe it. So I encourage you guys to click the link down there in the description, jump in, use coupon code CHOP, save that 20% off, because as I used to say, friends don't let friends pay retail. Get in here and start your second half off right. We're getting ready to ramp up for NFL, and you're going to want to be here for that. I just saw the staff drafting their season-long fantasy teams, and listening to their conversations back and forth was getting kind of fun. So we're getting really, really excited for NFL here too, and hopefully we have you as part of the community. So come on in and check us out, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.